If you're from the Inland Empire and you hear the word San Bernardino, this is what comes to mind. It's a city that's been neglected for decades and always ranks amongst the top 3 most dangerous cities in California, which is really saying something. Crime, homelessness, and drugs run rampant throughout the city's main districts. And while there are signs that it might be turning around, is it enough to undo decades of hopelessness and neglect?
Located in the heart of the Inland Empire, San Bernardino was once a boomtown that had a lot going for it. It had industry, tourism, Route 66, McDonald's even began here. It was an all-American city, whatever that means, with a proud, thriving working-class population. So what the hell went wrong? In short, the city's biggest employers, Norton Air Base, Kaiser Steel, and the railroad companies all shut down, leaving a huge unemployment vacuum. And despite all the new distribution centers that have been popping up for the past decade, the city never really recovered from the loss of those businesses. And by 2012, the city was completely bankrupt, further sinking an already struggling community into even deeper financial straits.
And here we are 12 years later, and the city is still fighting the same old demons. Poverty, property crime, gun violence still run rampant throughout the city. It's not as bad as it used to be, but there's still clear signs of a lot of work that needs to be done. Meanwhile, neighboring cities like Redlands, Riverside, Beaumont, Banning are experiencing record highs in population, wealth, and youth. So what the hell is holding the city back?
To find out, I spoke to several people who worked in the city, as well as an old friend of mine who was active in the community during the city's bankruptcy era.
It was like it is now, but I think there was less being done. I think when I go downtown, there's a little more that's been done. It's 50-50. It's like some things have changed, some things have stayed the same, and some things have got worse.
When you dive deeper into the city's statistics, it paints a very bleak picture. Homicides have been on the rise since 2018, only plateauing in the last 2 years or so. In fact, violent crime is 261 times higher than the national average. Property crime is a huge issue in the city as well.
Last night, we had 4 buildings broken into.
Like a week and a half ago, we got broken into. Some guy was walking by at night and just banged his forehead against the glass and it broke too.
And it hurts for a little business, especially when the cost of the broken window costs more than your rent for that month. So it does make a big impact on people.
Many people we spoke to both on and off camera had similar stories to these two. This is obviously a huge contributing factor as to why businesses and therefore customers aren't wanting to spend their time in what should be a booming downtown area. When you do walk around the downtown area, you see lots of old, empty buildings, most of which aren't even worth saving because they're probably far too behind county safety regulations to be used for anything. The Carousel Mall, for example, a cherished childhood memory for many locals, was recently demolished after its closure in 2017. While there were efforts to save it, the cost to preserve an already out-of-date structure was just too much. And even if it was able to survive, the city's average income is so low, most won't be spending their money there anyway. It's clear this city has a lot of problems, and everyone we spoke to has their own perspective on who's to blame. Some blame city council for poor spending and unfriendly business practices. Others blame the lack of involvement from the community as far as voting and just generally caring about the place. Either way, it's complicated, and the stigma that the city has developed over the years certainly isn't helping.
The city definitely has a stigma for the people that weren't born and raised here, on the outside looking in, 1000% there's a stigma against it. So that stigma for sure, probably one of the #1 things that the city needs to address.
I just would want the stigma to change surrounding us, but it's not as bad as people think it is, Just because, what you see on TV or you hear about us, it doesn't mean that, bad people live here, I have hope, I hope that one day it'll be known as more than what it is known as now. People in charge just have to take responsibility for what they've done and really work to improve our life here.
Most of the locals and business owners we talked to have expressed a deep frustration with the city's lack of efforts towards public safety and protecting their storefronts. However, the city has recently passed a ton of new grants to help improve the downtown area, so there is hope that things will be changing in the not-so-distant future.
Within the past 2 years alone, it has been greatly different than when I started 4 years ago. When we first started, there was homeless encampments all throughout 4th Street here as well as 4th Street. But since we started to build the little community that we have here, it's natural foot traffic and a lot better.
I know, yeah, I do think the city has a bright future. I think there's a lot of people, and even from what I experienced, the genuine passion and care and love that people have. I'm 3rd generation of being born and raised in the city, you know, and so I think there is something that keeps people here. I think there's a lot of work to be done, but I think it's also up to the people that are living here, like people that are our age, people that are younger. It's up to them to speak out for the things that they want.
There is a lot of positive changes coming for the city, and in a longer version of this doc, I'm going to cover them in greater depth. In short, the city needs to decide its future. More of the community needs to get together and take their city back from the depths of decay. There are some wonderful people here doing wonderful work, and I truly hope they do not get stepped on by the massive elephant in the room.
I'm very hopeful for the future. I wouldn't be doing real estate in San Bernardino if I didn't.
And honestly, I think people here are very resilient, and I think they're very strong, and whatever life throws at them, they keep going. And I wish people did that, and I wish that everyone's work to better the city, you know, it would pay off.